pragmatic of the program.
Yeah, I'm looking at the front page right now of number 15. Jesus.
MMTV, mouse marine mammary tumor virus. Let me share with you also, Mike.
There's a mouse business involved in this too, though.
Well, you know, thank you for saying that. The mouse model was used to develop the cure for AIDS. For people who don't know, the cure for AIDS is U.S. patent 5676977. You find it by going to www.uspto.gov. That's uspto.gov. Put the number in. What you will find is that in 1997, the United States patented the cure for AIDS. It's called Tetrasil.
Tetrasil, yes.
Its composition is silver 4, oxygen 4, and it's a one-time infusion. It takes about 20 minutes. It virtually eliminates pathogens in the bloodstream without side effects.
This is something you've actually had.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. And at 55 years of age, I know I'm a little bit ahead of the curve, and for that I'm grateful. Now, what we're trying to do here this evening is share the citations and the references so that people can do their own homework and come to their own conclusions. That is all I have ever done in these last 15 years, is read, understand, and try to respond. That is all that I have done. I'm hopeful that others like yourself will stand up and do the same.
I would like to continue with a couple of my own issues that I'd like you to comment on, because there are a number of people's names who you're going to hear in the next few minutes that we can discuss in a few. But just so that the people out there that are listening, my listeners, people who are familiar with me and familiar with the program, you know me well enough to take me seriously or not. You know the kind of a person I am. A lot of you know me personally, the people that listen to this program. But at any rate, I've taken this thing very seriously since I spoke with Boyd in August, and I've done my own homework, and I've gotten my own copies of documents, and I've verified and legitimized things as best I could on my own to make sure that I wasn't chasing a ghost or something that was going to make me look foolish. But I am willing to look like a fool at times, because I will take chances, and sometimes you got to be able to take the bumps with it. But in this case, I think that I've got the high ground, and the responses that I've gotten from people, I've sent formal requests via fax, via email, and via registered U.S. mail to all of my Missouri representatives, senators, etc. Chuck Graham, Ed Robb, Kit Bond, Claire McCaskill, Kenny Holsoff. I've sent the same information, registered mail, very formal, to my governor, Governor Blunt, who, by the way, bowed out and said he doesn't want to run again a couple weeks ago. Very, very suddenly bowed out. The Attorney General here in Missouri, his name is Jay Dixon. All right, all of the newspaper people who I've been ignored by and who I continue to give them the opportunity, because I'm just trying to help them save face, because they're going to look really, really stupid, and they're going to feel really, really bad when this thing goes supernova like it's going to, and I hold up the piece of paper that says, "Don't tell me that you didn't know, because I told you." And there are a number of other people. The head of the GAO in Washington, David Walker, who I know Boyd is familiar with. All of the head people of the Vatican, all of the U.S. cardinals, Cardinal Egan in New York, Mahoney, all of them, okay? The Jesuit general, Hans Peter Kolvenbach. I got the most pleasant response from his office. I got a more pleasant response from the Jesuit general than anybody else, frankly. Jimmy Carter, Louis Farrakhan, Phil Wilson, and the entire Black AIDS organization, the Black Entertainment Television Network, every major news media outlet, radio, television, print, including all your favorites, Bill Moyers, Amy Goodman, every one of them, all right? All of them took a pass. All of them took a pass. I've sent almost 1,000 individual letters, and all of them have passed, including everybody here locally in Missouri. All right, and I'm looking for one person, like I told him. I'm looking for one person with some courage, you know. And so far, we got no takers. Now, Boyd, there are a couple other people on my list here that I'd like you to comment on. Victoria Cargill. I have a letter that's linked up on my website that's written by Victoria Cargill. I'm sure you're familiar with her. Who is she, and why should people care about that?
Well, Victoria Cargill is the medical officer for the United States for the Office of AIDS Research. In May of 2000, following my directions, Dr. Cargill located the flowchart on the human immunodeficiency virus.
That's right.
And she also located some of the progress reports in the archives of the National Cancer Institute. Since Dr. Cargill was working for the National Institutes of Health, NIH, she sent the information over to NCI, National Cancer Institute, to Dr. Alan Rabson, R-A-B-S-O-N.
Who I've contacted, by the way, and invited on this program, including his boss, John Niederhuber, and all these other people that are supposed to be doing good work, and none of them have any interest in talking with me about this.
Well, with good reason.
Including Dr. Gallo that you mentioned earlier.
Yes, of course. Dr. Rabson, however, is the Deputy Director of the National Cancer Institute, and he has been in that position for a sundry of years.
Second in command, supposedly.
Well, you know, we find Dr. Rabson in the progress reports, 1971, age 12. Dr. Rabson was a member of the Developmental Committee of HIV.
Now, to clarify for the people, I want to make something clear. The HIV virus is not named as such in these reports. It's called the ESP1 virus when they actually finish the thing.
That's correct.
But we have, again, indisputable evidence that ESP1 essentially is HIV. They're the same critter. They just have a different name.
Well, that's true. And the way that we know that they are the same critter is that under electron microscopy times 100,000, ESP1 virus made by the Special Virus Program in 1971 is the HIV virus. The electron microscopes do not lie.
And you know what? And if it is an HIV, well, then what the F is it? All right?
Well,
because they made something, Boyd, and they released it into the population because they told us that they did. And
well, no, we could see that they did by the flowchart. Phase 5, or the clinical trial testing, or whatever virus that they made was going to be clinically trialed. And that's the period that we're in now. We were just in a phase of a biological warfare program that will only get worse. That will only get worse. The Georgia Guidestones, are you familiar with them?
I am, and I don't like...
Well, you know, the Georgia Guidestones are very strange because they are a signal to the 22nd century, 23rd century, that this country had to do something to deal with overpopulation. The first tenet of the Georgia Guidestones is an apology for reducing the world's population to 500 million people.
500 million people from right now close to 7 billion.
Yes.
So that's 95% plus.
Yes. That's what the Georgia Guidestones stand for. They don't even know who put them there, for God's sake.
Right, some clown is supposedly, his name is Christian something or other.
J.C. Christian?
right, nice, right?
So that's what I'm saying here, is that although we would like to think that we equally share the air and the space and the land and the water and the gravity, it is clear we do not. How dare the eugenics-minded people of this country to have worked in the back rooms of the laboratories for the last 100 years to affect the elimination and or eradication of people of color. 12 cannot be 50.
Right. Now, to close out this Victoria Cargill thread, I have the letter open on my computer here that Victoria sent back to you back on May 15th of the year 2000. And the timing starts to get interesting on this stuff, too. But I'll just read a clip here to the listeners. I have referred this matter and the report citations to the National Cancer Institute as the research was conducted within their institution. I have provided for them the specific report numbers and citations which you shared with me, as well as your websites indicated above. And she makes it clear in this letter that she was able to locate, through the National Cancer Institute, progress report number 8, and she says, I have reviewed this report as well as the flow chart to which you referred. So Ms. Cargill, Dr. Cargill, is familiar with this, and she made it clear on the 15th of May in the year 2000, and she sort of washed her hands of it because she's not willing to respond to me, but she certainly responded to you back in the year 2000. Now,
well, she thought she was dismissing me, that I've looked at your materials and I'm sending them to the appropriate place.
Right,
Thank you for writing.
right,
and that's basically what she did. And she's African American also.
I know, and I was dismayed that she wouldn't respond to me. Just for what it's worth, when I approach these people, I approach them with dignity and with respect, and give them, as much benefit of the doubt as I give anybody. I say, look, I'm interested in speaking with you about this, that, or the other thing, and I'd welcome you on my radio program and treat you with respect, but I'm going to be straight about what I want to talk about. And, I'm not rude or anything like that. And the interesting thing that I've found is that over the course of doing this radio program, often enough, I get guests that, or potential guests that, that say that they don't want to be on the program for whatever reason. But you know what, Boyd? They always respond. They always send me something back and say, thanks for your inquiry. It was nice that you wanted me on your show. I'm just not very good on the radio or whatever. But you know what? Since I've gotten involved in this HIV AIDS business, it's like I'm Claude Rains. I'm the invisible man. Nobody, I don't even get any responses. They don't even respond. It's as if the letters were not received. Yet I've got... No. They don't respond because you are insignificant and you cannot stop the train. Well, I guess we'll find out about that. Well, they're saying that come 2012, the next AIDS virus is going to come through the air and be triggered by your hair color and eye color. That's what they're saying. Well, I guess that everybody's got their plan. And if they're planning to reduce the world's population to 500 million people, well, then that requires a whole lot of people to die. Something is going to come through the air. Something is going to come through the air. And it's not the bird flu either. Speaking of recombinant genetics, the 1918 Spanish flu was also a product of recombinant genetics. It was a human influenza that had a bird virus insertion. The bird flu we're talking about today, the H5N1 nonsense, it is the same virus. The Spanish flu of 1918, it began in Manhattan, Kansas, with the soldiers there taking the Spanish flu to other parts of the world. It was a military experiment also. Again, 1918. All right. Another letter here I have in front of me. The Honorable David Walker. This is the guy who's the Comptroller General of the United States. Now, this is another person who's written me off. I wrote a formal letter to him and his people, and got we already responded to that. Although they did respond to me, they did respond in a personal fashion. Tell me what you know about Comptroller Walker. Well, it appears it's more of the same. When the government issued its report, and anyone can access it on Google, the GAO, Origin of the AIDS Virus Report, we responded in a timely fashion to show the government the errors in the report to no avail. Not one word from Mr. Walker, not one word from the GAO, not one word from the congressman's staff that even started the investigation. We are in Pandora's box, whether you like it or not. The truth is all that we have. And I'm going to continue down the center of the double yellow of the highway of life with respect to the truth, because it is all we have. All right, you mentioned the congressional person who brought this up to begin with. His name was James Traficant, and he was a representative from Ohio, your representative. This is a guy who's now in a federal pen, and another person who I've contacted over the last 6 months, although they won't let me talk to him directly, and I asked his prison administration if I could interview him, and they say no. That's interesting to begin with, but I haven't given up. They won't put it in writing because there's no reason why I shouldn't be allowed to talk to him, you know, as a person in the press, as a journalist.
Well, understood. But you see, they somewhat punish him.
Yeah.
For bringing, you know, this investigation, because what happened, the report issued by the GAO was thoroughly in error and flawed and purposely so, and the people can prove it. Therefore, Mr. Walker did not respond to the request for factual correction. Anyone could put that in on Google. Request for factual correction. All of this information is there. But you see, there's some degree of complaint.